Cliff here, and I'm talking to you today about multiplying fractions. Now I want to start by showing you the multiplication of a fraction and a whole number. So I was thinking of 3/4 of an hour. So there's 60 minutes in an hour, there's 3/4 of an hour. How do we work that out? A key idea is that when you're looking at word problems, can be replaced by times or multiplication. Of usually implies multiplication. And we'll see this more when we're looking at percentages. We'll see that a percentage of is asking you to multiply. So see of timesing. And another really important factor for you to know is that whole numbers, so 60 for example, you just write it, you can just write it as a fraction as 60 over 1. That's how you convert a whole number to a fraction. Pretty easy. Okay, so let's have a look at this problem. We've got 3/4 of 60, and now 60 is over 1. So the first thing you're going to do is multiply the numerators. So 3 times 60 is 180. And then you multiply the denominators, pretty easy. 4 times 1 is 4. So 3/4 of 60 equals 180 over 4. Well, that's not a very simple fraction, is it? So obviously we can reduce this fraction. And you do that by looking at 180 over 4. 4 goes into 180. 4 goes into 18 4 times, 16 there, and 5, 45. So therefore, 3/4 of an hour is 45 minutes. Okay, we already knew that, but I just want to show you an important shortcut to that, which is reduce the fraction before you multiply. It's a really good trick, and it makes it heaps easier to sort out later. So let's look at the same exact problem here. We've got 3/4 times 60 over 1. But if we look at this, and this is really important because this is different than reducing normally. We can reduce by canceling out any factors across the multiplication. So one top and one bottom factor. I want to make that clear. So for example, 4 goes into 60. 4 is a factor of 60. So 4 goes into 60 15 times. So you can make that a 1 and then a 15. You see how I did that? It's the same as if that were on top here. So you can only do it with a numerator and a denominator, but you can do it with either side of the multiplication. Okay, so now when we do that, we've got 3 times 15, that's 45. 1 times 1 is 5, and we can see that the answer is 45. That was a little bit easier. Okay. All right, so let's recap. When multiplying fractions, first, change any whole numbers or mixed numeral fractions into improper fractions. Then you can reduce by canceling out factors for fractions either side of the fractions using the numerator and the denominator. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if we look at, for example, at this problem, 3/7 you can't reduce it anymore. 35/24 can't really reduce it anymore. But if we're looking at a multiplication problem, we can reduce across, so we can reduce either side. See, if you look here, 7 is a factor of 35, so let's make that 5 and that 1. 24 is a multiple of 3, so we can make that 1 and that 8. And now all of a sudden, we have the answer, 5/8. Okay, we could do it the other way. We could do 35 times 3, 24 times 7, then reduce the heck out of it until we get it back to 5/8. But it's just an easier way. It's a shortcut. Okay? So, after you've got that shortcut, multiply the numerators together, the top numbers together. Just multiply across. Multiply the denominators together. Multiply across. Then, unless you need to reduce anymore or change it back to a mixed number fraction, you're done. Great. So let's just look at a couple of examples here. First one is 3/4 of 4/5. Oh, you can't fool us. We know that of means multiplication. So first, let's have a look. Can we cancel out any factors? I know that 3/4 is as simple as it goes on its own, but if you look here, we've got a 4 down here and a 4 up there. So we've got 1 4 denominator and 1 4 numerator. So they can cancel each other out. Look. Now, when we multiply 3 times 1, and 5 times 1, we've got a very simple, very straightforward answer. Okay, let's try another example here. We've got 4 times 3/20. Well, remember, 4 is a whole number, so we convert it to a fraction just by putting it over the top of 1. Then we're going to multiply it by 3/20. Okay, now if you see here, you can see that whilst 3/20 is as reduced as it can go, if we look across the two multiplication, the two fractions in this problem, we can see that 4 is a factor of 20, or 20 is a multiple of 4, so we can reduce that. We can make that a 5, and we can make that a 1. And once again, we've got 3/5. Okay, so I hope this has helped you understand how to multiply fractions, and good luck.